Hey guys, welcome back, and the topic of today's video is going to be gaslighting. Gaslighting is a term that actually stems from a movie back in the 30s, the 1930s. I can't remember the title of the movie. I think it was actually called Gaslight. It was like 1938. I think the producer of the movie was Peter Hamilton or something like that. But basically the movie, the character is a husband and wife, characters rather, or a husband and a wife. And there are gaslights in the house, back I guess in the 1930s. And the husband messes around with the gaslights in the house. Sometimes he switches them off, sometimes he switches them on, sometimes he makes them flicker. And the wife comes to him and says, "Have you noticed how the lights are sometimes flickering and turning off by themselves? And I could have sworn this light was on when I left the room, and when I came back the light was off, and when I came back it was flickering," that kind of thing. The husband kept telling her that she was imagining things, and she must be not remembering correctly. Well, if someone does that to someone over and over again, they can start to question their own memory and perception. Their own perception of reality can be altered if someone intentionally tries to manipulate their thought process and their perception of reality. So that's where the term gaslighting comes from. It's based on a movie where this husband is gaslighting his wife. He's playing with the gaslights in the house, and she's telling him one thing about the lights being on or off or flickering, and he's trying to tell her that she's imagining it, when in fact she's not imagining it at all. It is the truth. It's reality. So that being said, gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation. It's a way where a person seeks to gain power over another by causing them to doubt their own reality and their own sanity. That's the power of gaslighting. It's subtle, yet it is insidious in nature, and it can leave extremely long-lasting emotional scars. And I'm talking a lifetime of emotional scars. Without proper healing, therapy, and acknowledgement of the abuse, you may not recover from it unless you have acknowledged that you have been a victim of gaslighting. I want to dive a little deeper into it in this video. It's kind of, gaslighting is something that starts kind of small. What happens is they gradually, the gaslighter is usually a very charming and charismatic type of person. And what they do is they start the gaslighting slowly, which gradually erodes the person's self-confidence and their feeling of self-worth. The gaslighter, they twist the truth and they distort reality, making their victims question their own memory, their perceptions, and their very sanity. So when the victim, the person on the receiving end of the gaslighter's manipulation tactics, when this person on the receiving end of this gaslighting makes these perceptions of what this person is doing to them, when they tell the truth basically of what they're observing this person doing to them, the person doing the gaslighting, the perpetrator, the abuser, will dismiss their feelings as irrational, or make them feel guilty for expressing legitimate concerns. It's basically a toxic cycle that chips away at their victim's sense of self-worth. And it's not just limited to families. Gaslighting can happen in the workplace. It can happen in any kind of relationships. It's not just within families. And it's a terrible thing, because what it does is it essentially leaves the victim feeling confused, isolated, and emotionally drained. And this charm and charisma that these gaslighters have is how they actually manipulate other people. And it makes it difficult for the victim to recognize the abuse they're enduring, because their abusers are so charming and they're charismatic. It's almost like they do it without the victim realizing it's being done to them. If that, you follow what I'm saying there? Hopefully you can follow what I'm saying. However, if you are aware of the concept of gaslighting, if you're in a family situation, for example, where you've been gaslit for a long time in your life, but you've never heard of the term gaslighting, perhaps this explanation that I'm giving you here is shedding some light. You can relate to what I'm talking about how the gaslighter changes your perception of reality and tries to make you doubt yourself. When you're telling the truth, they will tell you you're imagining things. Perhaps this explanation of gaslighting that I'm giving you will help empower you. You know, awareness is power. When you understand the techniques of gaslighting and what gaslighting actually entails, it can empower you, because you'll recognize it when it's happening. And you will know in your heart of hearts, not only with your own intuition, because chances are you're probably an empathic type of person. You're probably the type of person who is good to others, has empathy, has a conscience. Whereas usually gaslighters, they're not people with conscience. They're usually sociopaths and narcissists, and other people with cluster B personality disorders are usually gaslighters. We'll talk more about the specifics of personality disorders in later videos, but I just want to shine light on this notion of gaslighting, because it's a very real phenomenon. Make no mistake about it, it's real, and you really need to be aware of what's happening to you when people are doing it, because of the nature of its subtlety. It is so subtle and insidious that sometimes you don't even realize you're being manipulated. You don't even realize you're being gaslighted. It's very tricky stuff, and usually the people who do it are quite clever, because they've been doing it for a very long time. They're well practiced at it. It just becomes a part of their nature. It's a part of their personality disorder to be gaslighters. It is the very essence of who they are. It's almost like they can't function in life without being pathological liars. And gaslighting is, in essence, lying continuously to a victim, causing them to not trust their own sense of reality. And therefore their sanity can start to erode over time. Their feelings of self-worth and self-confidence excuse me, can start to erode, and oftentimes does. So I want to say to you that if you do suspect that you're a victim of gaslighting, try to get yourself not only a good therapist, but try to surround yourself with a strong network of people that can help you to validate these experiences that you're going through. Validation is a big thing. And that's actually one of the purposes of this channel, is to help people to validate their experiences, not only by my sharing my own experiences with gaslighting, but to make the notion of gaslighting a very real phenomenon, so people can expose it out in the open and talk about it and say, hey, this has happened to me too. I've been through this with my own family. I've been through this with my own relationship. I've been through this at work. It's real. And by shedding light on it, we can empower people. And that's the goal of this channel. One of the primary goals of this channel is to create a community of trust and sharing of these types of situations so people can be aware of it and therefore take control back of their own lives and their own sanity and their own perceptions of reality, so people can't manipulate them. Because it's very serious stuff. I mean, this is the kind of thing that can go on through generations of families. My own personal story of gaslighting, I'm going to share more about it in depth in future videos, but my sister was a pathological liar. She couldn't tell the truth about anything. My sister, my mother, my father, they all were like a trifecta from hell. A trifecta that continuously shared stories amongst themselves and information amongst themselves, but cut me out of the loop. Whenever I asked questions, not right now, Kevin, we'll talk about it another time. Or if I would say something like, well, why aren't you sharing any information with me? They'd cut me off mid-sentence. Not right now, we'll talk about it another time. Or if I say, you did A, B, and C, and you haven't done A, B, and C, D, and E, they would say, oh, that's absurd, you're imagining things. That never happened. That's not true. But they're saying that because it is true, and they don't like that you know what the truth is. So they'll do everything possible to dodge it and twist the truth, so you will start to doubt your own perception, your memory, your sanity, and so on and so forth. So, gaslighting, a lifetime of gaslighting since you were a child, basically, can mess up your future relationships with spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, your romantic relationships. And ultimately, you may never be able to bond or attach properly to another person because you won't have trust in people. You won't trust people because you were so badly gaslit your entire life that without serious therapy and serious acknowledgement and awareness of what happened to you, you may never be able to have a functioning life. You may not be able to hold or sustain a job for a very long period of time. Your progress in your academic studies may fail because you can't think properly, because you're always wondering. There's so much unresolved conflict inside of you because you never got the answers you were seeking from the people you trusted the most and who were supposed to love you the most. They never gave you the answers, and you're perpetually confused, and you're experiencing all this cognitive dissonance as a result, which can really impede your progress in life. If you want to progress forward in your life, have functioning, healthy, happy relationships, productive work life, happy life, you need to have some peace and harmony and clarity in your thinking and your thoughts and emotions. There needs to be some balance in your thinking. You need to be able to sleep well. You need to be able to go through your day without feeling anxiety and stress because of the toxicity of the people in your life. People that you may still be enmeshed with, whatever your situation is, people that you've already estranged yourself from, like myself, 10 plus years ago. These things may still haunt you. Fortunately for me, I'm way better, like 90% better than I used to be. The first 3 years of going no contact with my biological family members was tough as a honey badger. I gotta tell you, it was tough as a honey badger. Emotionally, psychologically, it was very hard to do. But ultimately, it was the right decision for me. And I just want to end the video at that for now, just explaining the gaslighting. I hope I've made myself clear in the explanation. Please feel free to leave any comments down below. And if you have liked this video, I would be grateful if you would give it a thumbs up. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and hopefully I'll be able to provide you with more empowering content moving forward.